Because we only had one candidate for each of these races, we decided to have them on the stage at the same time. We are going to begin with Secretary of State, and then we are going to move to State Assembly 29th District. There are several candidates running for Secretary of State, and they are Gary Blenner, James Payne, Matthew Cinquenta, Rachel Ham, Raul Rodriguez Jr., Robert Bernosky, and Shirley Weber. Mr. Bernosky is here with us this evening. For State Assembly 29th District, we have Stephanie Castro. Robert Rivas, who is our current incumbent Assembly member, could not be here due to scheduling conflicts. So we are going to begin now with Secretary of State. Candidate Bernosky, if we could have your 30-second opening statement.
Good evening. Thank you, BenitoLink. My name is Rob Bernosky. You can find some information about me on my website at votebernosky.com. And I just want to say I'm running for this office because I want your vote to count. I believe that California is heading towards a state of disaster, and I'm worried about it. And from this office, I believe that I will be able to get more people participating in the vote and perhaps getting the state going in a different direction. So I'm going to ask you at the end, and I'm going to ask you now for your vote on June 7th. Thank you.
We will begin with the first question. Please explain the responsibilities of this office and tell us why you are right for the job.
So the Secretary of State, I acknowledge a lot of people don't know what it does, but it serves a couple of functions. And the most important is it's the Chief Elections Officer of the state of California. You know, sometimes there's doubt injected into our election process, and the California Secretary of State is the entity that basically certifies the vote. It also plays a role in registering businesses and making sure that those businesses have legal standing in the state and the country. And that's very important to growth in this job growth in the state of California. And I'm a chief financial officer by career. I typically get involved in companies that need a lot of help and need their data organized in a fashion that auditors can come in and creditors feel good about lending money and investors sharing in it. And I believe that those skills will lend itself to me being your Secretary of State. Thank you.
Second question. 47% of the population in our county voted in the last election. How would you improve participation, and would you increase the use of mail-in and drop-off ballots?
It's shocking to me that less than 50% of the people participate in our election process. And the Secretary of State's office is, in fact, a very large bureaucracy. It's 500 people that are longtime employees of the state, and they do their jobs. It would give me no greater pleasure than to allow them to do their jobs and for me to go around the 58 counties doing whatever I can, using my energy and my personality to get more people trusting the system and actually participating in the vote. The United States of America is an incredible country where we elect all levels of government, from the lowest all the way to the highest. And there needs to be a great deal of confidence in that so that people don't feel hopeless and that the vote does not count. So again, I would use, my skills to travel around and get more people participating, because that's what's needed in this great country and great state of ours.
And your final question, as Secretary of State, what would be your number one priority?
Getting more people voting and getting them to feel confident about their vote. I'm a fairly social person, and I raised a fairly social family, and we get around the state, and so many people don't vote, don't register to vote, and don't vote because they don't think that their vote matters. It does matter. And, tonight you're seeing everything from Secretary of State, House of Representatives, District Attorney, Sheriff, State Assembly. Folks, you elect these people. They work for you. They're They're not people that are unknown. They're here today with you. And we need more people to realize that you can influence the outcome of the state of California and maybe move it in a more positive direction than where it's headed right now by participating. That's my number one and pretty much my only priority is to get more people participating.
Thank you, candidate Bernosky. And if now we could have your 45-second closing statement.
So, as I stated before, I'm very worried about the state of California. Even here locally, as an example of what's going on in the state, you have the wheels literally falling off the bus of the Hollister School District, of Gavilan Community College, and I understand from today's county supervisor meeting, the county's going to be in trouble financially as well. And we need more people being aware of that, and then more people voting, people in that want to turn things around. Housing is horrible. Inflation is horrible. Our gas bills are horrible. Why? It's because of policies that elected officials put into place. Let's get more people participating in the process and maybe putting a different type of people in that are going to act more responsibly and for the interest of the middle class. So again, my name's Rob Bernosky. VoteBernosky.com is my website.
Thank you, candidate Bernosky. We are now moving to State Assembly 29th District. Stephanie Castro is here this evening. And candidate Castro, if I could ask you for your 30-second opening statement.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. My name is Stephanie Castro, and I am running for State Assembly District 29. I was born and raised in Santa Clara County, but I have lived in San Benito County since 1998. I am a wife, mother of 3, woman of faith, and an educator who has taught in the communities of Hollister, Morgan Hill, Gilroy, and Salinas. I am running for State Assembly because I want my constituents' voices to be heard at a time when their pocketbooks are hurting as well as their hearts.
Your first question this evening. What attracted you to this office and what qualifications do you have for the position?
As a former small business owner, I saw my community hurting during the lockdowns. I saw small business members hurting, their pocketbooks were hurting, and I wanted to help them. I feel like their voices haven't been heard, and it broke my heart. If I were a small business owner today, especially during the lockdowns, I don't know how I would have survived. I am a highly educated teacher with 2 clear credentials, and I have reached out to my community, and I would like to be a voice for what feels like their voice is not being heard.
Thank you. Your second question. As an assembly member, what legislation would you like to see passed concerning education?
Well, I would like to see a difference in the unions. I'm not sure unions are the best thing for California. As a former teacher, I haven't felt that the unions have helped teachers enough. I'm not sure if they've helped Californians, and maybe they need to be revamped a little. I would also like to see the sexuality program changed. I think the sexuality program that's happening now should not be for the young children, especially even for high schoolers. I think that it's not good for our children. The sexual education program is not good for our students, and we need to get that out of, yes, our educational programs. I would also like to see a change in ethnic studies, aka CRT. I think that's not good for our children either. I don't think it is appropriate. It's very divisive, and I would like to see that changed.
Thank you, candidate Castro. Thank you. We are now going to ask you for your closing statement, 45 seconds.
Only 2 questions?
Please excuse me, we did have a third question. District 29 is primarily agricultural. What experience do you have to effectively represent the industry? And again, my apologies.
Well, I have been talking to my constituents. Although I'm not a farmer, I did have a daughter in FFA. My son is also in FFA. My grandfather was a farmer. My husband's grandfather was a sharecropper. My aunts and uncles on my husband's side also worked in the field, so I have spoken with them, and I am in touch with what it is to be a farmer and work in the fields. So I'm not completely out of touch. I understand what their needs are. We need more water resources for our farmers because they grow our foods, and we are going to be in dire straits if we can't get water to our farmers. So I can represent that industry. I will make sure I hear their needs and get them what they need. So thank you.
Thank you. And if we now could have your closing statement.
Thank you, BenitoLink, for having me this evening and for the opportunity to address these key issues facing our communities that are important to our residents. I want to be the one to work with Sacramento and for my constituents and to solve these problems and even more. I feel that those who are in power right now are doing a great disservice to our taxpayers, and I am hearing their frustrations. They want someone who will represent them with boldness, trustworthiness, and honor, and I truly believe that person is me. I will focus on parental rights and education, finding ways to put more money in their pockets, and fighting crime so they can feel safe in their communities. Once again, my name is Stephanie Castro, and I will be your next state assemblywoman for District 29. Thank you.
Thank you.